I call this the May 27th, 2025 meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners to order. Our invocation tonight will be given by Brother Brock Neubauer. He's the pastor at the Taft Church of Christ, and his daughter Blakely Neubauer, who just finished the second grade at Blanche, will be given our pledge tonight. And Blakely, she dances at the Backstage Performing Arts. She loves everything about art. She attends the Taft Church of Christ, and she's the daughter of Brock and Beth Neubauer. Please stand for our invocation. Remain standing for our pledge.
Would you bow with me, please? Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful for another day of life which you've given us to live. We're so thankful for this opportunity tonight to serve our community. We just invite your presence into this meeting tonight. We just ask that you give an extra measure of wisdom, clarity, and unity to the commissioners here tonight and all the leaders of Lincoln County. We just ask you to be with all the decisions that are made, that they're rooted in justice and mercy and compassion with the best interests of the residents of this great community. We ask you to please bless all of our leaders. Please bless those who work behind the scenes, and please bless those who truly need our help, and help us to be mindful of them, listen to them, and act with integrity and speak truthfully. Father, we ask all these things in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brock, and thank you, Blakely. Madam Clerk, if you will, call the roll.
Brandon Coley. Here. David Sanders. Danny Walker. Ben Brown. Bonnie Caldwell. Here. Terry Lynn Rogers. Here. Jack Ashley.
Here.
Kate Gewen. Here. Mark Mitchell.
Here.
Charles Hunter. Marianne Tackett. Here. Steve Spray.
Here.
Daniel Eldridge.
Here.
Jason Nix.
Here.
Anthony Taylor.
Here.
Doug Cunningham.
Here.
Pat Haynes.
Here.
Tori Young. Here. Ricky Bryant.
Here.
Glenn Douglas.
Here.
Steve Gunterberg.
Here.
Troy Frazran.
Present.
Jason Hambrick. Jenny Rolls Walter.
Present.
21 present and 3 absent.
21 and 3. Thank you. Announcements. Robbie Counts, where are you? Stand, please. Robbie Counts is our new maintenance for all of our county buildings. And congratulations and welcome. And he's going to have a couple of months for Ricky to train him up in all the different areas that's entailed in this. So Robbie, we're looking forward to your service, and if you need us, you holler, and if we need you, they sure gonna holler. So welcome. Thank you. Tonight we have 11 people who have registered for public comments. I think it's all on the same subject, and that's one of the rezonings we have coming up this tonight. And in order, and they registered, I will be calling them. You have 3 minutes with a maximum total of 11 people that speak of 20 minutes. So if we run over at 20 minutes and someone hadn't spoke, we cut it off at that time. But there was nobody for the R3 change, so everyone on this was on the same side. So if you don't want to speak when your name's called, just say, I don't want to speak. The first one is Steve Jacobs. You have 3 minutes, Steve. Please come up to the podium.
I got it. First of all, thank you for your time, and my vote's no, and I hope that you all will vote no. We recognize the one-way conversation. However, we have questions that we'd like you to consider before you vote rezoning. Once the developer has moved on, what will the cost of the county to maintain the neighborhood? Electric, water, roads, substantially must be factored in your decision. Has anyone reached out to the county waste management companies? How will the county handle garbage disposal if the privately owned companies cannot manage new large communities? How will this impact the integrity and electrical grid of our community? FPU purchase of power from TVA. Will more power need to be purchased to support this type of development? Will these type of developments add additional stress to the electrical grid? And could that affect the utility rates? Other areas of purchasing power from TVA purchases rolling blackouts during high heat and cold weather months due to lack of power that can be supplied by FPU and put out the social media page, asking everyone to turn their thermostats down to preserve power and to prevent the need of rolling blackouts. The week we saw below average temperatures in our area, FPU had only the ability to reliable supply power for this type of growth in the future high density growth. Why is there not a system utilizing the rezoning request, a system where every entity is involved and consulted before the rezoning requests are considered for a vote? Voting should not occur without all the proper information, including fire, engineer, water, electrical, gas, depending on the circumstances. Police, each entity is then responsible for researching and relying pending information back to the planning and zoning with recommendations. One last vote from the report, Tennessee Advisory Commission, Internal Government Relations Public, May 24. Building houses greater density can lower household transportation costs by putting residents closer to workplaces, schools, and shops while helping preserve the farmland and reducing sprawl. Closer residents may rise in concerns the greater density could change the aesthetic character of their community, lead to increase the traffic and the noise, losing privacy, places additional strain on infrastructure. And because property tax assessments are based on property, the highest and best use may increase the property tax bills for existing residents can, even no change has been made to their property. Local officials also rightly point out the new development comes with upfront costs, and the financing these costs can create challenges with current avenues of financing largely limited to, again, either increasing the property tax
10 seconds.
or local sales tax. Some communities leaving impact fees and development taxes on all which may face opposition. Once again, folks, I ask you to vote no. This is not the right decision for us in South Lincoln County. Thank you.
Next speaker is Tisha Jennings.
Commissioners, the group that will speak today represent the concerned citizens of South Lincoln County. Not only are we concerned about the rezoning topic, but we're concerned about the lack of adhering to regulations and guidelines set for the commission and county planning. We're concerned that recommendations from planning and zoning are being ignored. We're concerned that votes which take place in this room today will lead our county into increased debt and more failing infrastructure. We're not here because we don't expect growth. We're here because we want to help inform you so that you can make the best decision for our community. The rules and regulations set by previous sitting commission members and the state of Tennessee are in place to aid this county in responsible growth, prioritizing safety, health, and community well-being. We ask that you continue to honor these rules and regulations. Sit tight while the urban growth plan is being reworked, and in the meantime, create a process for rezoning requests to include limitations for annual submissions. Moving forward with rezoning in South Lincoln is ill-advised, and doing so has burned us in the past. This county is suffering from costly sprawl developments, empty residential zones lacking essential infrastructure like power grids and fire prevention, and overcrowded schools resulting in costly new facilities. All of these county burdens could have been mitigated through thoughtful strategic planning. This county can be successful at growing. It can pull itself out of debt and become self-sustaining. But in order to make that happen, this group of voters must be diligent and purposeful in planning, creating a residential community closer to the town center, where taxpayer dollars will be spent in Lincoln County instead of Hazel Green, Alabama. A strong economy will not be created by rural sprawl. We know that recently we've been compared to other counties, such as Knox County, who was given favor in a legal battle about rezoning. However, we're not the size of Knox County. In 2023, Knox County had a population of 487,000, while Lincoln County sat at an estimate of 35,300. Comparing ourselves to other counties will not make us successful. Yes, we can learn from their failures and success, but we're unique and we must treat our county as such. The fact that Knox County went into a legal battle about this topic should make everyone stop and think. Despite the fact that favor was found for that county, it's a shame that citizens felt forced into a legal battle and tax dollars were wasted to argue this topic. Thank you.
Next speaker, Jude Jennings.
My name's Jude Jennings again. Just to reiterate a little bit of what she said about Knox County, there's some other points about Knox County that need to be pointed out. That area of Knox County is also an ISO 2 rated community. We're an ISO 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. We're a 10. Knox County is a number 2. I looked at the map where that rezoning was, and there is a paid fire station where they have full-time paid fire suppression less than 2 miles away. And there's also already R3 rezoned right by that school in the same area. So comparing us, who is an ISO 10, to a community that's an ISO 2, it's apples and bananas. You can't do it. It doesn't even make sense. The mere fact that we even are looking at that is actually a little bit kind of absurd. Knox County, again, has 400 and something thousand people in their county. We have 36,000. So it's a big difference there. And the state of Tennessee and FEMA do not recommend any R3 rezoning in any area with less than an ISO 3 rating. Again, we are a 10. Knox County was a 2. So not only were they recommended by the state of Tennessee, but also FEMA. Also, one I wanted to point out, I had talked to several of you again, and apparently there was a work session a couple of months ago where the speaker spoke about the definition of high density and how there was no definition. I have to disagree with him because I went to Tennessee Institute of Public Information. It was right there. It states the Tennessee explanation for high density housing is high density residential is a housing development with a higher population density than average for a community. What's our average in our community? 3 acres, roughly? So I don't think that really fits. It can include single family homes, multifamily dwellings, apartments, townhomes, and condominiums. All right, the state of Tennessee plans for high density residential building in the following ways per Tennessee Public Institute of Information, which is the locations of R3 high density residential, as y'all have coined it, should be near employment centers, shopping districts, major activity centers. The high density areas should have multimodal transportation to aid the people in their transportation needs. I don't think we have that here. The state of Tennessee notes the potential issues with high density residential development, which is overcrowding, lack of privacy, and increased traffic and noise, Tennessee.gov. ISO is an insurance service organization that assigns a rating to a community based on the Fire Suppression Rating Schedule, FSRS. This rating affects insurance rates for all community members. So that's going to affect every one of us if you pass this. Our insurance rates are all subject to go up. ISO gives a community rating of 1 through 10, 1 being the best score, which results in the lowest insurance rates for a community, 10 being the worst possible rating, and may result in higher insurance rates. Areas with an ISO 10 rating often have higher rates than communities with an ISO rating of 3 or better. FEMA defines an ISO area rating of 10, this is very important, as an area with no fire protection. We're in ISO 10, that essentially means we have 0 fire protection. Just a quick note, the fire study, I did a request that for the information on the recent fire study done on Lincoln County by CTAS, and it listed all of the calls that were made, and all the population and 10-year growth, in 10 years, in a decade, Lincoln County only grew by 1,600 people in a decade. All right, that's not that much. But comparing us to someone like Madison County or Knox County, where Madison County in that same 10-year period grew by 86,000 people. So their need for housing is going to be different from ours. The recent housing study stated that we need 24, and y'all can all, it's all this, I got this from many of you in records, through records request, so it's all there for you to read if you haven't read it, but the most recent housing study said that the Lincoln County is
10
24
seconds.
houses short
10 seconds.
on houses from 200 to 300,000. There's currently over 150 available in this area right now, in that area code. The reliability of the fire department has to be looked at, and the quality of its water supply. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, or I would get into more than that, but I'm asking you to vote no. It's not right for this county. It doesn't belong, and our infrastructure cannot support it, and you're going to incur additional burdens on us as the taxpayers. Please vote no.
William Pritchett.
I'm a minister, been a minister since 1969, and I really can't believe that our county wants to violate the law. All these codes and different things, and down where I live at 11 Oak Creek Road. I see Huntsville Highway every day. State troopers run them over the state line on a regular basis. About a month ago, they was chasing a motorcycle, and if he was doing 1 mile an hour, he had to be doing somewhere between 120 and 140 mile an hour, and the trooper right behind him. That highway is a tragedy waiting to happen, and they're fixing to put all the houses right there at the state line in Madison County. From the State Fire Marshal's Office, fire hydrants shall not be installed on water mains less than 6 inches in diameter, or a water main that cannot produce 500 gallons of water per minute at 20 psi. Residential pressure for 2 consecutive hours unless the tops are painted red out of service. Hydrants shall have tops painted black or covered with a black shroud or tape. Existing Class C hydrants unable to deliver a flow of 500 gallons per minute at a residential pressure of 20 psi shall have their tops painted red. From the State Fire Marshal's Office, as of January 1, 2008, the water system must provide notification by certified mail at least once every 5 years to each fire department that may have reason to use its hydrants. That fire hydrant with tops painted red, Class C hydrants, cannot be connected directly to a pumper fire truck. Fire departments may be allowed to fill the booster tank's pressure. Fire pumps shall not be engaged during refill operation from a Class C hydrant, while need for an improved water source for Tennessee rural fire departments. A high concentration of buildings with close proximity, which can result in rapid spread of fires. With high density residential growth, the insurance company will assess the highest probability of payouts due to fire and other emergencies. In areas of high density or heavy residential, the risk of losing multiple structures due to the close proximity
10 seconds.
of structures in an area with an ISO 10 rating is, I ask that you vote no. I sure, as a minister, I sure would hope you wouldn't want to violate the law of all things.
Ashley Trammell.
Ashley Trimble first.
Okay, are you Greg?
Greg.
Okay, Greg. Huh, Greg Tramble.
I'm out at 104 Old Quick Road. And to follow up on Mr. Pritchard's points, we've got a number of outdated fire equipment pieces, old fire trucks, equipment that may not be optimal working conditions. Stated that the 33 vehicles, the average age of frontline fire agents in Lincoln County is about 22 years old. And the water tenders average about 26 years old. In total, 29 of the 33 apparatuses are over 15 years old, and 12 of those are over 25 years old. It's recommended by CTAs that the vehicle replacement plan be developed that replaces and addresses the aging apparatus of equipment issues in Lincoln County. Moving on to crime. Increased crime rates are also factored into increased rates in the community with an ISO 10 rating. High density growth statistically brings higher crime rates. R3 housing developments also bring the opportunity to have Section 8 housing, which does not fit the desired growth plan for any of the surrounding areas. School size challenges. South Lincoln is a community with large geographical area to cover with few schools. We already have overcrowding at a number of the schools. South Lincoln is one of them, and this would be zoned for the South Lincoln area. Road maintenance. Consider what traffic study would present for the proposed development of the highway. Can these roads and their connections to Huntsville Highway sustain the amount of traffic that this type of development will bring? Will red lights be required in this area? In addition to the red lights, they're going to be placed just south of the state line with the new development down there. And then something else that was brought to our attention, the law requiring a municipality to notify the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers before rezoning a property with a natural spring is primarily Section 10 of the Rivers and Harbors Act of 1899 and Section 404 of the Clean Water Act. So Section 4 of the Clean Water Act regulates the discharge and dredge of fill materials into waters of the United States, including wetlands, which also includes springs. Rezoning that involves filling, excavating in or near a natural spring, which is considered a body of water, could trigger the need for the Section 404 permit. In summary, when a municipality considers rezoning a property that contains a natural spring or something in close proximity to that natural spring, it'll involve work in or near the spring. They are required to notify the U.S. ACE and obtain permits under Section 10 and or Section 404 of the relevant acts. This is because the U.S. ACE has jurisdiction over these types of activities in and affecting navigable waters and water wetlands, including springs that are part of a larger water system. So if the due diligence has not been done on the natural spring in this area, this should not even come to a vote tonight because the rules and requirements have not been met. So I personally would prefer we vote no, and thank you for your time.
Robert Jacobs.
Hey now. The key factors supporting why the community is against rezoning any A1 to R3 in South Lincoln area are as follows. No paid fire department personnel, lack of training, and poor communication systems. A small number of firefighters on duty, resulting in slower response time and potential difficulties managing large fires, which you would have. County Technical Assistance Services, CTAS is what they go by, stated in most recent fire study of Lincoln County that one of the main issues was a lack of volunteers to respond, increasing call volume. The lack of funding, the number of trained volunteers in compliance with Tennessee state minimum requirement dropped from roughly 95 personnel in 2019 to 79 by the end of 2021. And this number is expected to decrease. The number of missed calls continues to increase from approximately 500 calls in 2018 to 832 in 2021, with an estimate of 1,069 for 2022. Most of the missed calls are medical calls, and the department does not have an adequate number of additional personnel who are willing to take the extra classes and mandatory continuing education training to maintain their license. CTAS states that the minimum number of fire personnel for an emergency fire response is 15 trained persons. We currently only have 12 registered volunteers in the lead responding station in relation to the proposed rezoning area. Lack of proper training and certification for firefighters is also impacting their ability to effectively combat fires. Over here. Okay, FEMA and the Tennessee Institute of Public Services recommends that no heavy or high-density residential be constructed in communities with less than an ISO rating of 3. This is due to the lack of protection in the community and its structures where ISO is considered an area of fire and emergency services inadequate, which we have. The factors within the FSRS that affected an ISO rating are as follows. The reliability of its fire departments more than 5 road miles away from the community are determined by ISO and FEMA as no department or no effective protection. This is the current South Lincoln status. The quality of its water supply system, NFPA and
10
Tennessee state
seconds.
law requires 500 gallons per minute. Go on. I just want to say that I vote against this. I do, and I hope that you do. I mean, this is our community. It's where we live. It's where we plan on all of our families living. I don't know what y'all are thinking, but I know what we're thinking. So no. Thank you.
Next and last speaker, Nina Hannah.
I didn't do as much homework as them, so mine's going to be different. I'm opposed to an additional R3 development in South Lincoln County. There's already an R3 project being built where the old truck scales used to be that has houses crammed together so close that I question whether the fire department would be able to save much if a fire were to happen. Look at what happened in Hawaii and Los Angeles when those fires spread out of control due to lack of resources to adequately fight the fires. I attended a planning committee meeting a few months ago where they voted to recommend not to develop another R3 zone. Right after that, Barry Brown pulled his request, yet somehow here we are again with another R3 zone on the agenda. I don't know all the rules for how we got here again, but I just want to feel safe. I don't know how many of you are aware of the land being developed in Madison County, Alabama, that encroaches right up to the state line of Tennessee. 700 to 900 houses are going to be built right there. If your goal is to increase revenue through property taxes, common sense tells me folks would buy a house in Alabama over Tennessee because their taxes are cheaper there. Leaving the Lincoln County property as A1 would give prospective buyers more land with their property over being packed in like sardines. It would actually be a better draw in for folks to buy in Tennessee. Even better, and this is very much my opinion, why don't y'all put in a few nice restaurants there to collect sales tax revenue for the county? That would have less impact on our infrastructure and you would still collect revenue for Lincoln County. Why does R3 zoning keep being brought up every few months even though it keeps being voted down? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I ask that you please vote against rezoning our beautiful area of Lincoln County into a nightmare overcrowded R3 zone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That ends our public comments. My apology to Betty Glass, Gary Good, and Dylan McCoy. But earlier you signed up, we just ran out of time, and I'm sorry that that occurred. Next item is approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. Do I have a motion to that effect? Commissioner Frazran makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Commissioner Rolls-Walter makes a second. Any questions on those? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. On the monthly and the quarterly meetings, make this note. Tim Gill called it to my attention. The highway ones are quarterly minutes, so that would make 17 monthly and 7 quarterly. Those you should have received on those. Next item is consideration for approval of the 2025 county road list. You should have had time to look over that. Any questions? Tim's here to answer any questions regarding that. Okay. Commissioner Taylor makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Gunthenberg makes a second. All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Our next item, consideration for approval to appoint Jacob Sarles and to reappoint the following: Eric Jones, Mark Clark, Kay Cooley, Lisa Creason, Brad Luna, Bridget Jones, Spencer Perrin, Kate Killebrew, Ron Perrin, Diane Buchanan, Garth Garris, and Ben Brown to the Education Workforce Committee. This is for our Lincoln County 3-star program. Those terms would end in May of 2026. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Rose Walter makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Mitchell. Any questions on that? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, consideration for approval to reappoint Will Hamilton and Thomas Hastings to the Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities. Those terms would expire June of 2028. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Rogers makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Douglas? Who was it? Commissioner Frazran makes a motion. Any questions? Seconds? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, consideration for approval to reappoint Josh Blackburn and Andrea Delap to the Library Board. Term to expire June 28.
So moved.
Commissioner Ashley makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Douglas seconds. Any questions on that? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, consideration for approval on resolution to support the reconstruction of the Columbia Dam. If y'all got one of those from the meeting last week in Gatlinburg, showing the increase in population of Murray and Marshall especially, we're going to be running into a water problem. May not be in my lifetime, but southern Middle Tennessee is growing in a situation. We're lucky here in Lincoln County that we got Timms Ford above us and Elk River running through it, but that's not the case for Murray and Marshall counties. So the reason we're trying to do this is show support for that. Doesn't mean it's going to be done, but we sure need that dam on the Duck River for water supply for Marshall and Murray County. Any questions on that? I would entertain a motion that we approve the resolution then.
So moved.
Commissioner Gunthenberg makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Commissioner Young seconds it. Any comments? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Next item, consideration for approval of resolution to name a bridge on State Route 244 crossing Pleasant Valley Creek in northern Lincoln County, Tennessee as a James Dysart Talley Memorial Bridge. You got to jump through about 10 hoops on that, and we've jumped through about 7 of them. The next step is this: if you pass the resolution, then that would go to TDOT, and then it would go to the legislature in next year's session for approval of that. If I remember correctly, here are the steps. Somebody requested. It's usually a family member that does it. At that point, we contact the commissioners in that district for their approval. Next, we send a letter to all adjoining landowners for their approval. Then we have to have documentation from the family or somebody. They're paying all costs for signage. And then the next step is what we're here tonight, for a resolution that we would send to the state legislature copying TDOT. So what's the will of the commission on this item?
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Rogers makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Caldwell seconds. Any comments or questions on the process or this one specific? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Next 3 items, I believe Ms. Tracy Perkins have got the next 3.
All right, the first item we have tonight is Planning Commission File ZR 2025-1, accessory dwelling units. On April 7th, the Planning Commission gave a favorable recommendation to consider adding accessory dwelling units to the Lincoln County zoning resolution. Included in your packets are the general provisions, the definitions, the application, and the covenants to be recorded with the Register of Deeds. The Register of Deeds has come forward, and he said he'd like to see a couple of things done on the covenants, but that's not anything we can't do at a later date, I think. It's simple housekeeping stuff, I believe. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. I was gonna make a comment or do we wait for discussion?
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say I've received several calls because I was quoted in the paper. And I just wanted to explain, number one, I am for growth in Lincoln County if it's done the right way. Unfortunately, I don't believe that this is getting us to where we need to be, mainly because I asked those questions for transparency. So people would see that we really don't have accountability for any of this. It bothers me that with no accountability, it's not the best for our citizens. And I think it's obvious here tonight that we do have issues within our planning and zoning department. I think this is nothing new. This is something I've talked about since day one. And like Mr. Bill said, I think we're putting the cart before the horse. And we need to step back. We need to rethink about this. We need to take care of our issues now, and maybe later down the line we can readdress this. But this is not something that we need in our county right now.
Other comments before I ask for a motion one way or the other?
I'd like to make one comment.
Okay.
The Planning and Zoning Department did not bring this before the Planning Commission, brought this before the Commission, not the Planning and Zoning Department.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion either way. Move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion was by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Eldridge. Any questions or comments? I didn't. Okay. Do I have a commissioner who wants to recognize Tim Gill? Okay.
I'm Tim Gill, I'm the highway superintendent. I've read this over and there's several questions I had about it. One is water. We just had a couple of dry years and some houses run out of water. And I think if these units can be built, they need to have public water available. I think there needs to be some changes in some of this. I think it's a great idea, but there needs to be some changes in it. the houses, whenever their original use is mostly for family use, that family member passes away, are these gonna be rental units when they get through, and can they be rental units? There's just several questions that I have concerning these things. A lot of people, you know, has got the land to do it, gotta have a 1 acre lot, which is standard. A lot of these houses that are existing is less than 1,500 square feet. These houses can be up to 1,500 square feet. There's a lot of houses in Lincoln County that's not 1,500 square feet. It's just gonna kind of look odd to me to put these big units with a small house or even a trailer. Can they be with a trailer?
There are no mobile homes.
But can they
Well,
be an
they could be
existing
with-
trailer
they could be an
and then build a
existing trailer.
dwelling?
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of questions. I think it needs to go back and make a few changes to it and then bring it back to us. Thank you.
Tracy, you have any comments after that?
No, they did not make that differentiation whether you could put one, you know, you have to have it site built, but they didn't say that it has to be beside a site built.
Say the last part again, I'm sorry.
It had, the accessory dwelling unit itself has to be site built, but they did not say that it had to be on a lot with another site built. So it could
Okay,
be with a mobile home.
Okay, understand. Commissioner Rose Walter?
Could we have Mr. Jojo from the Water Department give an opinion on water availability and any concerns that we may see on the front end?
Water is not available everywhere, okay? So as far as these dwellings go, it would be basically depending on whether they want a new meter, old meter, or what have you. Because if there's a meter already existing, they can hook up to it but as we go, we charge them higher rates. They're not, they can't use a leak adjustment, and they are charged commercial rates. But as far as anything else, I mean, really, it's just up to the homeowner as to what they do with it.
Jojo, you don't have a rule that one household per meter?
They're not. Ours, in those situations, we call it a multi-user, which is multiple dwellings on 1 meter. But like I say, they are charged a higher rate, and they are not eligible for a leak adjustment if one occurs.
When they build this house and the family member dies and they rent it out, then that homeowner is gonna pay both water bills at a higher rate and then get stuck with the water bill.
Or, I mean, now that you brought that up, our meters are designated for one residence.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if that situation happens and whomever is in the other dwelling, the person that meter is in their name, they can cut them off at any time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of problems.
I was just gonna say again too, I mean, saying you hope that they do the right thing, saying you're gonna make them sign a piece of paper, that they're gonna adhere by this, I'm not willing to gamble my district on a hope and a piece of paper that has no accountability and is not gonna be held up.
Okay. Commissioner Eldridge?
I'll just give a insight into what the planning commission was thinking about this. You could come up with every possible scenario and the worst case conditions, and yeah, I mean, it's theoretically possible you could have all these situations, but in general, we're trying to give an opportunity for a family to build a small, like a mother-in-law suite or something for their aging parents, whatever, out behind their house. Now, it can be abused, of course, but if we don't pass it, then you can't do that. So you got to weigh that out. Are we gonna? I mean, we think people are gonna run rampant, building these little units behind their house and rent them out. I guess they could. We'll definitely probably have 1 or 2 that'll do that, but most of the people are going to do this to help their family, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. Probably not perfect, but you can't in the context of these zoning regulations, you can't anticipate every possible scenario and you can't legislate for every possible scenario. So that's the thought process behind the planning commission. Everybody can vote the way they think is best, and that's what you're here to do, but that's what we were thinking at the time.
I recognize Commissioner Bryant.
I just had one observation, and I only had one comment about this, but the comment that came to me was that young folks, and I considered that a lot in my thinking about this particular item, is that young people that are just getting married, they can't get a loan for a house. They can't get, they simply cannot qualify. And then we got a couple items coming up next, and I go to all these meetings, and every meeting I go to says we need housing, we need housing, we need housing, we need housing. And we're so far behind on housing that people they don't have anywhere to live. So that's my only observation, is that these young folks, they're young, they get married, they both got jobs, and they still don't fit in the box to get a loan for a home. And that stuck home with me when that person made that comment to me, because when you're young, y'all know how it is. When you're young, you ain't got anything, and you're just trying to do something. So it's really, really hard for young people to fit in that box anymore to get a home loan until they get older. So that stuck with me, and I'm not trying to sway you either way. I'm just saying that that's a comment that I got that I thought was a worthy comment to repeat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Rose Walter.
Well, I want to kind of piggyback off of what Commissioner Bryant said. I remember when my husband and I first moved back to Lincoln County, we rented my aunt's dining room, and we hung a sheet up that had a hole in it that separated us from the dining room table. And we used her kitchen, and when we got tired of her, we rented a apartment kind of that my parents, they had over 30 acres and rented from them, trying to save money to put down on a home. I feel like from all the data and everything that I see that we really have more of a rental issue than a housing issue, because of all the vacant houses and then the prices that housing study said that we needed. So I think we do have a rental issue. I do appreciate the commission's hard work that they've put in on it. I do think that there's some questions and some room to make it better. So I really don't want to vote no. I'd rather postpone it, postpone any action on the item until we get the growth plan and the comprehensive plan back. Commissioner Eldridge, are we not going to include the housing study as something that's going to impact the growth and the land use decisions and all that? So I feel like any decisions that involve land use, housing, anything like that, that we've paid all this money, they have all the data, we need to make an informed decision. And so I'd rather not vote yes or no on anything like this. I'd rather postpone it until we have those plans back.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion. It's been properly seconded before the commission. Please do a roll call vote. A yes vote will be approving this as it is printed.
Brandon Coley,
No.
David Sanders. Bonnie Caldwell.
No.
Terry Lynn Rogers.
No.
Jack Atchley.
No.
Kate Ewan.
No.
Mark Mitchell.
No.
Marianne Tackett.
No.
Steve Spray.
No.
Daniel Eldridge.
Yes.
Jason Nix.
No.
Anthony Taylor.
No.
Doug Cunningham.
Yes.
Pat Haynes.
No.
Tori Young.
No.
Ricky Bryant.
Yes.
Glenn Douglas.
No.
Steve Guntherberg.
No.
Troy Frazran.
No.
Jason Hambrick.
No.
Jenny Rose Walter. I have 4 in favor,
Okay.
17 against, and 3 absent.
Motion fails. Next item, Ms. Perkins.
Next item is file number 2024-R13. It's a request to rezone a 21-acre parcel known as 163019 on Huntsville Highway from A1 agricultural to R3 heavy residential for the purpose of creating a major subdivision.
Okay, what's the will of the commission on this item?
I make a motion that we postpone any action on this R3 development or any future R3 developments until the comprehensive plan and the growth plan are complete.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Haynes seconds it. Floor is open for discussion. Seeing no call for discussion, let's have a roll call vote on this, Madam Clerk. Motion is to, if you vote yes, it would be to postpone this with no action at this time.
Jeannie Rolls Walter,
Yes.
Jason Hambrick, Troy Frazran,
Yes.
Steve Guntherberg,
Yes.
Glenn Douglas,
Yes.
Ricky Bryant,
Yes.
Tori Young,
Yes.
Pat Haynes,
Yes.
Doug Cunningham,
Yes.
Anthony Taylor,
Yes.
Jason Nix,
Yes.
Daniel Eldridge,
Yes.
Steve Spray,
Yes.
Marianne Tackett,
Yes.
Mark Mitchell,
Yes.
Kate Ewan,
Yes.
Jack Atchley,
Yes.
Terry Lynn Rogers,
Yes.
Bonnie Caldwell,
Yes.
David Sanders, Brandon Coley.
Yes.
21 in favor and 3 absent.
It's unanimous to postpone. Next item, Ms. Perkins.
Okay, and the next item is Planning Commission File 2025-R2, 3271 Huntsville Highway. May 6th, Planning Commission voted to send this file to the County Commission with no recommendation. It is 2 parcels, map 163C, Group A, parcels 1 and 2. They total 5.21 acres and are both zoned A2, and they'd like to be rezoned to C1. There is no map with this right now. Sorry about that, I thought there was, but it will be in your packet next month.
Okay? What's the will of the commission to call for a public hearing on June 17th? Commissioner Rogers makes that motion, second by Commissioner Ewan. Commissioner Cunningham, was that to make a motion, or do you need to address?
No, sir, I was just trying to.
Get your name in the minutes. I'll look back that way in a minute. All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Main Street Report, Amy Bird.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to keep it short tonight. We kicked off our first Saturday season in April with a record number of attendees for First Saturday. We had 6,900 people in April, which was a 34% increase over last April. This May, we were down a little bit because we had a pretty good rain out that started around noon. But the vendors who did set up said that people came early and bought them out, so we were very happy. Even the new vendors who had never experienced the First Saturday before were still very happy with their sales. We were happy for them. As always, I'm looking at data to support our program. And what we found in April and May is that 42% of the people who attended First Saturdays were from outside of Lincoln County. So that's really encouraging to have people coming from other communities to spend money here in Lincoln County and increase our sales tax revenue. Sawburger Festival, also looked at that data. We had over 11,000 people at Sawburger Festival. 48% of those people were from outside of Lincoln County. Joseph Faulkner did an economic impact report for us, and we brought in over $80,000 in sales tax revenue with over $1 million in economic impact for money that was going right back into the community. Both directly and indirect spending in Lincoln County for that day. Our downtown improvement grant is underway right now. We had 24 applications for the downtown properties. We were able to award 12 applications with grants up to $20,000 project value, and they'll be reimbursed 75% of that project, so up to $15,000 reimbursement. We did hold a public meeting before those applications opened so that they could openly ask questions about the process. We provided those at the meeting with a rubric that the grant committee that would be using, and we did give priority to members of Main Street. It was very clear in the application that members would receive additional points for being members. We're excited, also with the Downtown Improvement Grant, a portion of that has to be used for public improvement. So we're getting greenway lighting installed on the greenway from Stonebridge Park to downtown, and hoping to connect that and open up some more, or encourage more recreation use on the greenway. And we'll also be installing a parklet, a pocket park on Elk Avenue where the Love Garden is. It's that, it's the little lot owned by Joe Edmondson, and he's graciously going to let us lease it for $1 per year. We've met with Shoal Engineering. They're going to be doing the design of the parklet, and we're looking forward to moving that along and hopefully have it completed by Christmas. The second annual Race to Maine is going to be in July. July 5th is the date. We're bringing back the Build Your Own watercraft. We had a lot of people say that's what they really wanted. We have kayaks and canoes that will be available to rent through Elk River Canoe. And this ties into First Saturday, so people will, drop in at Frito-Lay, pull out at Stonebridge Park, and then take the Greenway to the square to participate in First Saturday festivities. We have a new treasurer in our organization, Mike Balser. He is a CFO of a United Healthcare organization, and he had also served as the treasurer for the Boys and Girls Club in Nashville. So he's very familiar with nonprofit financials. And we have transitioned him into the role, and he says we're in a great financial position, and we're working on making some budget amendments for the 2026 fiscal year. Our next Love Thy Neighbor mixer is going to be at the Tigress. It's the fourth Thursday of the month in June, and we are booked up through the rest of the year. We do have all of those dates on our website. We'll be hosting 2 learning opportunities for our members. The next one is June 10th, and it's called Small Town Big Brand, and it's a marketing focused educational opportunity. And then in September, the Exchange Media Group is going to be hosting a seminar on SEO, which is search engine optimization, because most people, when they go somewhere, they turn to Google first before they pick up a rack card or, word of mouth. So hopefully it will become more Googleable. So that's it. That's pretty short for me, right?
Any questions? Googleable, huh?
Googleable. It's a word.
I believe you. Thank you, Amy.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Commissioner Bryan, I believe we're ready for the budget report.
All right, we've got a lot of ground covered tonight. I'll try to do it quickly. Budget Committee of the County Legislative Body of Lincoln County, Tennessee met pursuant to due notice at Lincoln County EMA office on April 22nd, 2025. Those were for public hearings, and we heard solid waste, debt service, highway fund, and fire EMA. Budget Committee of Lincoln County Legislative Body of Tennessee met pursuant to due notice at the fire EMA office on April 24th, 2025. Nonprofit hearings continued, and we heard the 25-26 County General Fund and the Sheriff's Fund. That night there were about 31 budgets there in that process. Next item, the Budget Committee of Lincoln County Legislative Body met pursuant to due notice at the Fire EMA office on May the 6th, 2025. Item 1, Mayor, we had no comment. Item 2, Sarah Campbell, Soil Conservation. It was about a contribution agreement. Sarah Campbell from Soil Conservation advises the committee of the possibility of the contribution agreement being cut off as of September the 30th on the federal and state aid for Soil Tech. The contribution agreement is for 1/3 each. Lincoln County Soil Conservation District provides direct direction for local programs by working with landowners to install best management practices to control erosion, protect water quality, and provide other measures to enhance and protect the environment. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Sanders, and passed 6 yes, 1 no, and 1 absent to approve funding the salary of the soil tech for the fiscal year 25-26.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
Move we concur.
Commissioner Bryan makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Young seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval?
I got a question.
Okay.
If they get their grant money from the state and federal government, I just want to be clear on it.
I think it's a good question. I know where you're going.
I need to know how much are we contributing to pay that state and federal grant if they don't get it? And if they get it, will the taxpayer get their money back for those two portions? I know we gotta pay a third. We get that money back if they get their grant money.
Okay, here's the reason it's at the end of September, because the federal budget is from October 1st to September, end of September. They will have to pass a federal budget. We will know at that time, and if they're approved of that, we'll still be back to the amount that we just been put. But if you vote for this, you're agreeing to step up and take the federal portion of that to pay too. Everybody understand that? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
All right, next item is Lincoln County Library, and it's about an HVAC system. Megan Murr explained the situation at the library with the HVAC units. The library has issued formal bids and received 4 qualified bids, selecting English service in the amount of $153,045.40. The library is asking the city of Fayetteville to share 1/2 of this cost. Megan also stated that they received a donation of $20,000 to go toward the cost of the new unit. We had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Ewing, passed 7 yes, 1 absent, to approve the county paying $66,522.70, and the library write a letter of acknowledgement of this amount that it will not be included in their maintenance of effort. This is subject to the city of Fayetteville paying $66,522.70.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
Move to approve.
Commissioner Coley makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Taylor seconds. I do not know, does anybody know what the city did on?
They did approve it. It was in the paper.
Okay. Okay, it's been approved. So if you vote for this and it passes, we will be up in our share of that then. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, Commissioner
Item
Wright.
4, Director of Schools Jacob Searles presented the fiscal year 25-26 Department of Education budgets, and they're attached. Jacob Searles presented the school budgets that were approved by the Board of Education May the 5th, 2025. As an information item, Dr. Heath built the budget and did a great job. Mr. Searles added his enhancements to the budget based on those decisions of importance, and the Board of Education approved as presented. We had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Sanders, passed 7 yes, 1 absent, to recommend acceptance of the 2025-2026 Department of Education budget.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
Move to approve.
Commissioner Taylor makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Mitchell seconds. Any questions, comments? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
B, Technology Supervisor Brad Luna, Chromebook lease, and that's attached. Brad Luna requested approval for the proposed 36-month lease for Chromebooks for Lincoln County High School through Insight Financial Services with a yearly cost of $175,675.28, a contingent on approval from the Comptroller of the Treasury. Please note that pricing for this equipment may change due to current tariff volatility, which could increase the cost and possible timeline disruptions. We had a motion by Commissioner Spray, seconded by Commissioner Ewing. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent to recommend approval of signing the Chromebook lease.
Before I ask for motions, everybody understand this? Now, one of the things that they do, and Commissioner Nix may want to comment this, when we get these leases, it's like we're borrowing the money, basically. It goes, it goes against the volume of money that we show borrowed. That's the reason it has to be approved by the comptroller. So it's standard. It's not anything particular to Lincoln County. It's just standard process now. I'd entertain a motion, whatever y'all would like to do on this. Commissioner Taylor makes a motion for approval. I have a second. Commissioner Spray seconds. Any discussion or questions? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
Item 5A, surplus sheriff property that's attached to be sold, and the proceeds go toward the purchase of a transport van. We had a motion by Commissioner Hambrick, seconded by Commissioner Ewing. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent to recommend approval of the attached surplus sheriff property to be sold and go toward that end.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
So be it.
Commissioner Frazran makes the motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Young seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
B, surplus of Sergeant Wayne Graham's firearm due to his retirement. We had a motion by Commissioner Spray, seconded by Commissioner Caldwell, and passed 7 yes, 1 absent to recommend approval of surplusing that firearm.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Douglas makes that motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Young seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. One note on that, there is at 11 o'clock this Thursday a celebration of Wayne's retirement in this room, Sheriff. And if you can come, let's come honor him. He's done a great job here in the courthouse, and prior to that's protected Lincoln County for a number of years, and he's a great person, and I know he would appreciate it, and I'd appreciate all of y'all turning out. 11 o'clock Thursday in this room. All righty. Next item,
I
Commissioner
think that's
Bryant.
35 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey,
Been around.
I don't know.
30, long time. All right, C, surplus guns attached. Motion by Commissioner Hambrick, seconded by Commissioner Sanders. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent to recommend approval of surplusing the attached list of guns to be sold first Saturday of June.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
So moved.
Commissioner Gertenberg makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Douglas seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant.
D, Sheriff Malone requested that all money not spent in the 2024-2025 budget year be rolled to the 25-26 budget to finish purchasing tasers, shotguns, and side-by-side and the transport van. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Spray, passed 7 yes, 1 absent. To recommend approval of rolling these funds.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Douglas makes a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Nix seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
Item 6A, 101 general fund budget amendments, and they're attached. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Spray. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent to recommend approval of those funds.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
Move approved.
Commissioner Bryant makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Ewan seconds. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
B, state litter grant, highway litter grant. We had a motion by Commissioner Caldwell, seconded by Commissioner Spray. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent. Recommend approval of the attached state highway litter grant in the amount of $41,119.95.
And we may need to attach that Finance Director Nix can sign that, because there is that correct? I think there's something for you to sign in that, I believe. Accepting it, am I wrong?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Move we approve and allow the finance director
To sign, okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ashley seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
Item C, 131 Highway Fund Budget Amendments, and they're attached. We had a motion by Commissioner Hambrick, seconded by Commissioner Ewing. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent. Recommend approval of 131 budget amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Ewing makes a motion. Commissioner Taylor seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
D, 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments, and they're attached. We had a motion by Commissioner Spray, seconded by Commissioner Sanders. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent. Recommend approval of the 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Spray makes that motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Ewing seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
E, we have the financials, and they're enclosed. We had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Ewing. Passed 7 yes, 1 absent. Recommend approval of the financial reports.
I entertain a motion to that effect. Commissioner Taylor makes it. Commissioner Cunningham seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
All right, last page. The Budget Committee of the County Legislative Body of Lincoln County, Tennessee met pursuant to due notice in the Lincoln County Fire EMA office on May the 8th, 2025. Item 1, the committee reviewed the following: key revenue trends. That's A. B, the 25-26 enhancements. C was the budget worksheet for the 2025-26 draft budget. No action there. Item 2, the 25-26 draft budget. It is enclosed. It is an information item only tonight. We had a motion by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Hambrick, and approved unanimously to approve the enclosed 25-26 draft budget to be published in the newspaper and considered in the June 10th, 2025 public hearing. No commission action is required at this time. The committee will recommend approval of the final budget subsequent to the public hearing on June the 10th, 2025, with commission approval scheduled for June the 17th, 2025. And that is all we have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Bryant. Next item, Lincoln County Chromebook lease resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few items tonight. First thing is the resolution for the school board. That is the resolution you heard of earlier about the Chromebooks. This is the resolution that actually goes to the comptroller for that approval. So we're seeking resolution approval for that. It was something we had to kind of get so we can keep this ball rolling faster before this fiscal year ends for the comptroller to be able to approve the debt. Once again, that still may be something they don't actually do. We may not sign up for the debt. It may be cheaper in the end to keep the Chromebooks one more year. And Brad Luna was at the budget committee meeting and explained that then, that if it's cheaper just to keep it 1 year, if the tariffs do raise it up too high or if it's affected in a negative way, he's going to pull the ripcord and say, we're going to keep those Chromebooks 1 more year, and then we'll relick this next year and go get it another way. So, but that's the resolution, so it needs to be approved by this body because it is a multi-year contract.
Do we
You want
need to do
I'll do the
anything?
resolution, yeah. You need to
Pardon?
approve the resolution.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Cunningham makes a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Taylor seconds. Any discussions? Any questions? All in favor of what Jason just said, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved.
All right, next thing I have is for the 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendment. This is an amendment that kind of came in late. It's for their summer program, learning program. It's their budget to run that program, and it was not late by anything the school did. It was actually by the state. The state was late in getting it and approving it. It was all after the May 8th meeting. It all took place after that, but it's for the amount of $469,315.76. This is all state money that came in late. So it's all state money that's going to be used to pay for this program, which is their summer learning program every year.
Do I have a motion to approve that amendment?
So be it.
Mr. Spray makes a motion, seconded. Commissioner Coley. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved.
All right, next is have some, just basically some 101 general budget fund cleanup amendments that we do every year. It's that time of year, May. We're doing cleanup after this year, so we'll do some more. There'll be some more cleanup in the budget meeting in June. June the 10th is, by the way, just to make that change, June 10th is our next budget scheduled meeting. It's usually the first Tuesday, but we've had to move it back to the second Tuesday. So June the 10th, there'll be some cleanup at that meeting. And then I may have to even do one last cleanup on the floor on June the 17th at our last commission meeting for the year, just kind of giving you a forewarning of what's coming. But it's every year. So the first one I have is for the 101, it's a budget amendment to correct the payroll expenditures. It's for $11,267,000. Or excuse me, $11,267. The next one is for $36,065.50. That's a budget amendment to record the revenues expenditures from sale of guns to purchase shotguns for the deputies. Next one's for $85,081. That is a budget amendment to record revenues expenditures received from sale of property for Lincoln County Sheriff's Department that goes to purchase their transport van. The next one you can scratch through. That actually was in Ricky's, in the budget amendments and the ones Ricky read earlier. The next one is for $199.96. That's a budget amendment for remove funds in the travel line on the Veteran Service Office basically from travel line to supply to buy paper. Next one's for $1,219.80. That's a budget to move funds committed from by the Friends of the Veterans. Next is for $2,000 even. That is for Ag Extension Office to move from their equipment line to their maintenance and repair vehicle line. And the last one's for $4,200. That is from the opioid restricted funds and amount to removing it to the South Central. That's actually a previously done drug lab that they did that was approved earlier this fiscal year, and they had just a little bit extra they asked for at the last opioid meeting that was approved by the opioid committee. So that's all for the 101 general fund budget amendment.
Okay, any of those need to be broken out? You all right voting on them as a group? I'd entertain a motion for the 101 amendments to be approved.
So moved.
Commissioner Douglas makes a motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Commissioner Ewan seconds. Any questions? All in favor of approval of those, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved.
I have one for the 131, the highway fund. That is in the amount of $25,000. It's a budget amendment for money received for damage to a guardrail. That's all for the 131.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Taylor makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Hambrick seconds. Any questions? All in favor of that amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved.
And last, on a budget amendment, but it's actually a surplus, the Law Enforcement Committee met this afternoon at 4:30 in the basement here at a regular scheduled meeting, and it come to their attention that Toll Maloney brought forth a surplus of an item. It's a driving simulator. If Toll wants to explain a little more, he can, but it's basically a driving simulator that they had on a trailer years ago that's not been used and not going to be used, and it's been requested by TCAT for their use, so he is wanting to surplus that from their office to the TCAT program for their use.
Okay, just directly
it did approve. The Law Enforcement Committee did approve it unanimously.
Okay, everybody understand that. Not gonna be sold, they'll be donating it to TCAT. Entertain a motion to that effect. Commissioner Douglas makes a motion, Commissioner Hambrick seconds. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else from budget? Madam Clerk, what about some notary list?
Okay. Ford by Commissioner Hambrick, Kristen Scrimshire by Commissioner Spray, Irving David DeConte from Commissioner Hunter, Megan Bassett by Commissioner Bryant, Donna Gill by Commissioner Cunningham, Jonathan Brown and 9 accounts by Commissioner Hunter, Deborah Moyers by Commissioner Spray, Jesse Vance by Commissioner Walker, Carrie Desamarias by Commissioner Caldwell, and Philip Crabtree by Commissioner Brown.
Any additions or anybody that they think should be on the list that wasn't on there? Entertain a motion for that list to be approved. Commissioner Spray makes a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Rogers seconds. All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. New business, I have two. Doug Campbell has a information item that I will ask for it to be approved. And then Commissioner Rogers, I think, has
John Creason.
okay. Doug Campbell, you're up.
Good evening. Fayetteville City Schools approached me about using the back of our office in the storage area for a reunification point, should it be needed. When the Armory, which was their reunification point, became TCAT, they lost the use of that. So we did some checking. Our insurance, local government insurance, approved it. They have no problem at all with that becoming a unification point, should it be required. And it went through the Fire EMA committee and they approved it also at that point. So just so everybody's aware of what's going on, when I talked to the mayor, we wanted to bring it to your attention and felt like it probably should be approved through this committee also.
This would be in case of a situation where they remove the students out of the junior high and high school, that they would be moved over to the EMA office, and that's where the families would pick up those students at that point. Any questions? I would entertain a motion that be approved. Commissioner Guthenberg makes a motion. Commissioner Bryant seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of that approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Thank you, Doug. Next item, Commissioner Rogers, you would like to recognize John Creason. John, at this time. You got 5 minutes.
All right. The issue being addressed is after almost 46 years of the wheel tax being enacted in Lincoln County, the clerk's office has suddenly decided to apply a wheel tax to all dealer plates within the county. This does not contest the validity of a wheel tax. We purchased a total of 6 registered vehicle tags that the wheel tax applies to. These vehicles are used daily for business and pleasure and is not at issue. From 1979 to present, Lincoln County has not applied a wheel tax to dealer plates that are for resale inventory that may or may not be used upon the roadway in the counties within the renewal time. This application of a wheel tax by the clerk's office violates the Private Act of 1979, Section 1 and 3, TCA 554105, TCA 554105, subsection 3A, House Bill 2378, and TCA 58102, the state of Tennessee Opinion 1218, and the opinion for Rutherford County produced by the mayor's office and the clerk. These violations by the clerk were made without a vote from the county elected officials or a new state law or pre-existing law that promotes this change. The wheel tax being applied to all dealer tags in Lincoln County is unjust and a violation of House Bill 2378 and TCA 58102. If the state intended for a county to add a wheel tax to all registered vehicles, the state would have stated all, not any. The wheel tax by Lincoln County placed on vehicles that are not registered or taxable by the state is a violation under the state of Tennessee Opinion 1218. A vehicle in a dealer's inventory is not taxable by the state until it is sold by the dealer to the buyer and the buyer registers the vehicle. Lincoln County violates TCA 554105 by not recognizing the auto dealers do not need to register vehicles they have in inventory. The Lincoln County clerk fails to apply the exemption under subsection 3A and is placing the wheel tax on non-registered vehicles. Applying a wheel tax on vehicles that may or may not be used upon the roadways for a period of more than 30 days violates Section 1 of the Privilege Act of 1979 and Section 3 that the tax is effective on registered vehicles. Dealers' vehicles are not registered until the sale under TCA 554105. The state ruling for Rutherford County provided by the clerks in the mayor's office was written for Rutherford County, not Lincoln County. The thrust of that act is to use the tax on county roads, not taxing the dealer's inventory on cars that will be driven on occasion or not at all. A wheel tax on auto dealer tags do not meet the requirements to apply the wheel tax and should be exempt.
Okay, and John has been to our office. He's correct on what we requested and Phyllis gave us. And I also have asked John, is that the information to give? If you will give that to Ed, he has not had a chance to go over this. And sometime he will address this item because Ed has not received this until at this time. So John will be back in touch with you.
Okay, that'll work. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Any other new, Commissioner Rose-Walter?
I know everybody's ready to go, but in lieu of all the conversation about ISO ratings, fire protection involving R3 developments, I would like to ask our EMA director if he could speak to that issue. Can you give an explanation of our ISO ratings and how equipped or ill-equipped we are to serve R3 developments?
I can tell you one thing, get out your pocketbook, because I know how you solve the problem.
I used to have, when I was in sales, I used to have a little red button on my desk, and every time you'd hit it, it'd say $1 million. So our ISO rating in the county, if you're within 5 road miles of one of our recognized fire stations, is a 6. I don't know where the 10 that was mentioned tonight comes up. If you're outside of 5 road miles of one of our recognized stations, you are a class 10. We are a hauled water county, which means when ISO graded us, the hydrant really doesn't come into play. Our ISO rating is based on the county's ability to shuttle water and establish 250 gallons of water a minute for 2 hours, and that's what we were graded on. And that's what gave us the ISO 6 rating within the 5 road miles. And that was stated in the ISO paperwork with the way it reads. If it's outside of the 10 miles, that doesn't mean we're not responding, but what it means is, or 5 miles, I'm sorry, it means that ISO says your protection drops the cost of that. We fall under NFPA 1920, I believe it is, as a rural volunteer fire department considered in our response, which they mentioned the 15 people within 20 minutes. So R3 does create problems for any fire department, especially on your response. That goes without saying. So the closer the houses are built, the more likely you are to have additional structures catch on fire. I mean, that's just common sense in there, the radiant heat from one to the other. As far as the training, Lincoln County continually meets the state minimal requirements. We've been recognized over the last 8 years, 7 of those 8 years of having some of the most training hours in the state. So, and we've got the certificates in the office that will back that up. So for a volunteer department, we train regularly and a lot, and you just have to come by the office to see that. I don't know exactly, Miss Jenny, if I've covered the questions you've asked. Is there something specifically I need to try to address?
Are the recent R3 rezonings that have been proposed within that 5-mile radius or outside of that 5-mile radius?
I believe both of them fall outside the 5-mile radius.
I don't know if this is inappropriate, what I'm about to ask. I'm sure the mayor will tell me if it is. But in your opinion, should R3 developments be allowed that are outside of that 5-mile radius, in your opinion, for safety reasons?
For safety reasons, it puts a great strain on the fire department. Our response, our members, of course, is all volunteer. It really strains our ability to respond, and it creates sleepless nights when I hear of them for our guys, and when I say guys, our firefighters, when they're responding. So I don't know publicly. I wouldn't want it. Let me just say, if it's in my opinion, I would say I wouldn't want one outside of 5 road miles of a fire station simply for the ISO ratings. If it's 5.1 miles, though, ISO stops at 5. Some of them are, I think the one tonight, I'm trying to remember, I looked at it, but I don't remember the exact mileage on it right off the top of my head. I had it on a piece of paper, but I can't remember. So it is a problem. We have upgraded a lot of our equipment and our tankers, a lot of it through COVID money, thanks to this commission. They've done, and over the last 8 years, helped buy some equipment. So our equipment is upgraded, but yes, probably instead of one house, you stand very likely of having 2 houses on fire as it stands today.
And I just have one more question. So obviously we are volunteer based. People can't just stop, drop, and roll when a call comes in. So how many people do we have at our current Park City fire station, and how many in all likelihood would be able to respond to a fire at 8 o'clock at night?
So with our current protocols, we automatically page for any structure fire 3 stations. So we would page our station 407 in Park City. The next station that would be paged at the same time would be our station 415 at Vantown. And with that R3 down there, probably either 410 Flintville or probably 418 at Malina would be sent that away. But there's automatically 3 stations paged. I would expect 10 to 15 between the 3 stations if it was 8 o'clock on a Thursday night.
And what would the response time be?
NFPA 1920 says we have to be there within 20 minutes.
So what do we think would happen in 20 minutes in an R3?
Depending on the structures and the way houses are built today, you're going to have one fully involved, potentially, and hopefully you get there and stop it before it gets to the other 2.
Thank you for all your information. In my opinion, it sounds like these R3s need to be on a main thoroughfare within the 5-mile radius of a fire station. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Anything else under new business?
I move adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor, stand and leave.
Recommend R3 is better.
Yeah.
So R3, R2, R1.